Those are all my dots, Alaska, I'm in Alaska. So what we should do is we should move that meeting. Because I leave the third. We should put it and see if we can put it on the first or second. Because I would be available on the first and second. I think you could.
What?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I know, they were.
Maybe
Okay,
the 31st, and then maybe both here. But yeah, I'm just saying, I go to Alaska.
Frank's in it.
and then I
He's
go
on
to
his
college.
way in,
So
but
I'm literally like June. is
I might
the
delay
night.
it. If they-
I'll actually send you an email, and I'll say, hey, I'm looking at June. These are my schedules. Do you want to rearrange meetings?
What? I was just telling her I was doing bridge inspection in Cincinnati this morning. We got off the bridge just as it started snowing, so we were.
Not there. I just can't.
I was so happy.
Hi, how are you? Yes.
We're down there again tomorrow, and then we're up in Toledo on Wednesday and Thursday.
It is 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If everybody would stand, and with Girl Scout Troop 5052, they are here this evening. This week is Girl Scout Appreciation Week, and so they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. We got a picture earlier. As they're exiting, they asked if they could do a tour of the municipal building and talked about leadership in the village. And so they also said that they would be willing to do the Pledge of Allegiance as well. So thank you. Thank you to Troop 5052 for coming in and doing that. Mr. Dreyer, would you take the roll?
Absolutely. Mayor Carney?
Here.
Mr. Sims?
Here.
Mr. Terry?
Here.
Mr. Daly?
Here.
Ms. Ferguson?
Here.
Mr. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Rucker?
Is there an approval for the council meeting agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sims?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the council meeting minutes from February 27th?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sims?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
And is there a motion to approve the council work session meeting minutes from March 1st?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sims?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
We have a couple visitors this evening, so if Mr. Blake Miller would like to come forward.
Well, my name's Blake Miller, and I'm here on behalf of my grandfather, who owns the property bordering what you guys are looking to annex off Plain City Road. And he owns the farm there, and it borders basically the whole north side of the property where you're wanting to annex. I live on that farm. I'm the third generation to be on that farm, and I don't plan on being the last. We have a lot of concerns about housing in that area. The Troyer farm is not as big of a concern to us, but the Blosser farm is a long, slender piece of property that goes out into the middle of that whole block. There's no developments in that whole block this far. But that long, slender piece of property, like I said, dives out into the center of that. And that block is basically made up of family farms that have been in their names for generations. We have a lot of concerns about it. One of them being trespassers on our property, people walking their dogs, taking joy walks through our property. We don't want that. Another big concern is drainage. There's a lot of surface water that runs across the Blosser farm, through our farm, into the ditch, which is Sweeney Run. I don't think these developers have any clue how much water comes across there. I'm sure they're gonna say, oh, we've got all this taken care of, but when it's actually a problem and everything's done, you know, is it gonna be fixed properly? Are the farms gonna be drained properly? That, like I said, the Blosser farm, the water from all the farms south and west of there, all drains right through the Blosser farm. And we have a ditch or a swale that runs through our farm, and it's about 50 feet wide and 4 feet deep. A couple times a year, that ditch is full to the brim with water. So I'm not really sure how you're planning on fixing that, how developers are planning on fixing that. I'm not sure they really have an idea how they're going to. Another concern of ours is the traffic on Lafayette. I grew up on Lafayette, right beside the Troyers. I know the Troyers well. We've been friends with them for years. Like I said, the Blosser farm is the main concern of mine. The traffic on Lafayette with the new development right there, Madison Meadows, has already gotten a lot worse. We don't want more traffic back there. Perry Pike, Lafayette, that stop sign, it gets worse weekly. We don't want more traffic back there. We are being forced into a lifestyle that we did not choose. I'm sure if someone were to purchase land in the middle of town and start raising hogs, you would have a problem with it. We feel the same way with you imposing on our quiet country living. Please reconsider this annexation and focus on the east side of Plain City, where the land is not as fertile, and you have another city moving in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I do know we have talked with Brian Doom, the county engineer, on making sure that farm fields, that the tiles aren't affected or cut off, and because that has been a concern, especially with the amount of rain that we got a couple Fridays ago.
Yep.
So that is something that I know that we've been trying to communicate more with the county engineer and looking out for.
All right.
Our next visitor is Mr. Jacob Moran.
I just thank you guys for all the things you guys do for the town. I would come to meet complaints, and that's kind of how this division works a lot of times, and that's not the image I want to deliver. I know a lot of people in the city will appreciate what's going on, and so I'll start positive that way. I do think the things you guys are considering are very good. I actually came down to address just the tax abatement sort of questions in general. I know that's not for immediate debate or whatever tonight. I was actually at the school board meeting right before this to talk to them as well. Tax abatements are something that need to be thoughtfully and intentfully used and tied into our strategic plan. And I know that I should call Jason today because I was excited that we had the development director who knew been around and I reached out to him. So I talked to him a little today, and some of the plans that he has are very good and they're helpful. And I hope you guys take them seriously, use them. But those abatements need to be tied into specifically to your strategic plan. Go to a grocery store, we're looking for a grocery store. You throw some money in a grocery store, I'm not going to hear you complain about you. And I think those kind of things those matter. There needs to be a mathematical calculation to the taxes that are generated, not only for you guys, but for the school. You're going to have more responsibility coming when the county laws change, and the school district has, I'll say, less veto power, or however you want to phrase that. So more responsibility is going to fall on this council to make wise choices for you and the partners. And I think maybe this is a broad generality, but in the past they've been more flippantly used. They've been more passed out without a lot of questioning. There have been some absolute dilapidated buildings that have been revitalized. I'm not going to go back and say, wow, we really made a mistake there. We had abandoned buildings that were dangerous, and now they're not. Now they're useful, and people are using them, and it's fine. But that initial development is already there. And we don't need to use the development in the downtown district. And the evidence for that would be that all of those buildings have turned hands in the last 18 months to 2 years. So we don't need to ask people to buy those buildings. They want to buy them now because of the original tax incentives that we gave, we generated some, that's exactly what the tax incentives are supposed to do. That time is probably done in downtown. It needs to be focused more on the appropriate utilization. 142 corridor, or like I said, for grocery stores, the manufacturing projects that we want, the things that we really desire. And so I think part of the question is the project going to be what we want it to be? Does it mathematically make sense? And then what I heard a lot tonight at the school board meeting, which is disconcerting, on two fronts. One is, well, the precedent's already been set. You've already proved all these. So you can't stop now. I'm like, well, at some point, you've got to stop. My suggestion would be, in the downtown district in particular, now's that time. Like, it's time to, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a few months ago, and I missed my opportunity then to talk to you. So I'm not picking on a particular investor, just the concept is I think that time is done in downtown. There's that much attractiveness downtown that we don't need to pass out money there. And so we shouldn't, in my opinion. And then the second one is the type of business going in there. Is that what you really, is that the kind of business we're looking for? I mean, if we're looking for an event venue, what are we going to do with 50 people on Saturday? 50 more cars on Saturday night. We don't have a place to park them now. So I mean, there's some operational things that I think are difficult for the town from that standpoint as well. The other, I guess, you know, I don't know. I guess that's really what I want to say. We need to thoughtfully look at these things with the strategic plan, with what we're trying to do. I don't think we should stick with a precedent. We need to make the turn. We should make it now. Again, not picking on any particular issues, but I have to see. I read the council minutes about once every 6 months. This was my 6-month window. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. Is be thoughtful about it. I mean, to Blake's point, we hear the strategic plan says, well, let's defend ourselves from Dublin and Marysville, but we're annexing south and west. We're neither Dublin nor Marysville. And I understand that's where somebody approached us, and that's how annexation works. They come to you and whatnot. But we can say no. We have that power, we have that authority, we have that right and ability as a council to say, we could go there, but we don't want to. We want to go the other way, and we're going to keep our powder dry so we can go where we want to go when we want to go. And I think that's the approach we should take.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. That concludes the visitors portion. Moving into reports. Just been busy. Last couple Fridays ago, did the farm story time at the Plain City Library. Appreciate the partnership with the library and allowing that to happen. Working on Safety Town. We are almost full on registrations there, so it's exciting to see that this is our 3rd year for that. And working with staff on facility agreement use and everything for the park. So that's been the last couple weeks. Ms. Sonnet, our finance director.
I have nothing there, thank you.
Chief McKee.
I don't have anything at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Lupton is not here for this meeting. Excuse me. Ms. Sonnet, did you have anything to report for her? Okay. Council President, Mr. Sins.
Nothing to report.
Law Director.
I have nothing to report.
This is okay. Marketing and Communications.
Nothing to report.
Okay. BZA, Mr. Rucker is not here. Planning and Zoning. We are meeting this Wednesday, March 15th at 6:30, and I know Mr. Hutchison has been working, continuing to work on the zoning code, and we are hearing about a potential property that by the Shell station coming in for development. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mayor. Parks and Rec meeting tomorrow night here, I believe, 6:30. There's a few things going on in Parks and Rec that get caught up in that expansion thing you're talking about. There are more activities and enhancements of what we have to look forward to in terms of recreation and facilities and that kind of thing. I encourage you, if you have a moment at 6:30, to stop by the Parks and Rec meeting. It's an open meeting, and listen and maybe contribute your opinions there, because that's the stage we're in, and the planning stage, and assessing different programs and facilities and purchases and parks and all of that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, then stop by tomorrow at 6:30. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Personnel Finance.
Yeah, we have our meeting next Tuesday, I'm looking at, yeah, 21st at 6:30. And depending on if there's a BZA meeting, will it be in there or be in here?
Mr. Terry, did they move that, we're talking about moving the meeting to Thursday, the 23rd, remember that conversation?
It's still the 21st right now.
Still gonna be the 23rd, I thought they approved it or something, but,
I'll send a note, but I'm pretty sure.
yeah, can I check it?
21st.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Fire board, Mr. Rucker is not here. Design review board.
Nothing to report. This time, I don't think we have a submittal for this month, I don't believe.
We do not have a public hearing. Moving into old business. Second reading resolution 6-2023, amending the wage scale for part-time and seasonal employees.
Motion to approve resolution 06-2023.
Second?
Mr. Sins,
Yes.
Mr. Terry,
Yes.
Mr. Daly,
Yes.
Ms. Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Reed.
Yes,
Moving out of old business into new business, first reading resolution 7-2023, statement of services available to the proposed annexation of 010910 and 10930 Lafayette Plain City Road. First reading resolution 8-2023, adopting the Uptown Master Plan. And that is all for new business, and we have, under discussion items, wayfinding with Union County Convention and Visitors Bureau. I will turn it over to Ms. Karen Thielen.
Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council, and thank you, village leadership. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you. Justin reached out to see if I could talk about an update on wayfinding signage master plan. Then I asked for more time, so I'm sorry. I'm keeping you from your warm homes and maybe dinner, so I apologize. If you don't mind indulging me, just allowing the opportunity to give you an update on the activities in our organization on behalf of what we're doing for our county and for Plain City for 2022, and then we'll talk about where we're going for 2023, and then we'll talk about wayfinding and signage, if you don't mind. So we'll jump right into that.
Assuming the technology cooperates, my apologies.
No, you're fine.
I tested it this morning, it was.
Well, that's
working.
how it always works. As we wait, I will share the part of what we're gonna talk about tonight, is Destin and Brandon, that we've been through, as an organization, and I just wanna say hats off, absolute kudos to you, for the new brand. It's beautiful. Ironically, your agency and our agency were not working together, but we ended up with very similar colors and feels, and so that made us feel really good about the direction that you're going in, as well as the direction we're going in, because it is cohesive. So kudos to all of you. It's a beautiful brand. No, I might take my laptop. That way at least the, I don't have the, like, data around our 2022. I can at least speak to that here. That's okay.
I can print out the presentations too, for each council member, if that's what we do.
If that's what you desire, that's easier for them. So there's two presentations that I'm going to share with you this evening. Justin, thank you, that's a great idea. Should I wait or just jump in?
We're gonna have a couple copies part of it.
Okay, then we'll just wait a minute if you're okay with that.
It's all right, I already ate dinner.
Well, while we're waiting, in your packets, I shared the latest Ohio Travel Guide. And I share that because Union County has, I think, 9 different mentions in there. That does include our ad. But if you turn to page, because I don't know, my laptop's up, 144, which is the inside back cover. I wanted to share with you that not only do we think very highly of all the tourism product that is available in Plain City, so does Tourism Ohio. So you'll see on page 144 at the bottom is one of their ads, and they're promoting Mitchell's Berries, and they mentioned it by name. So I just wanted to share that with you for what it's worth. And then at your leisure, if you want to read through this, there's other mentions of Union County destinations and businesses. But I was really pleased that they selected Mitchell's Berries and called that destination out by name. So they think very highly of all that you're doing, as do we. So that's why I gave you that as well. Okay, well, I might get started. You can obviously catch up. I don't want to keep you longer than needs to be. So I want to just kind of give a brief overview of 2022 and some of our successes and highlights. And so obviously, as a tourism entity for Union County, we're responsible for driving economic impact from tourism. This year, we were focused on our destination branding, which you'll learn more about. We were continuing down the path with our wayfinding signage master plan. That is a task force. We're going to talk more about that this evening. We've been working on short-term rental assessment, talk about that as well. And then obviously doing all the things related to destination marketing. So one of the things I want to share is the economic impact of travel. In 2021, we had direct visitor spending of $116.7 million in Union County. That's up 20% from 2019. And I think that that's really important to note because 2019 was the peak prior to COVID. And so I find it very startling they were up 20% when we're still working through business travel recovery. So I know that as that comes back, and it's coming back now, that we'll have an even deeper economic impact from visitation. So total impact of spending is $203.4 million, which generated $26.9 million in tax revenues, supports 1,840 jobs, and the most important fact is that these tourism tax revenues have saved households in Union County $642 per household. Okay. I also want to share that our lodging, which currently is all in Marysville, I don't think that's necessarily the case in the future. I'm looking forward to hopefully some development in city as well. But our properties had an average of 63.7% occupancy and an average daily rate of 95.86. And we get data that compares a competitive set of 6 different destinations against us, and our occupancy outpaces all of Ohio for 2022, which I think is, goes back to that Union County is one of the fastest growing counties in Ohio, just also from a tourism standpoint as well. Short-term rentals, we are managing and monitoring this. Short-term rentals are just that, our Airbnb or VRBO properties, and we're managing and monitoring that right now so that we can work with county auditor's office as well as if needed locally around whether or not we want to enact or work towards legislation of that. And what I mean by that is our hotel properties currently collect from the guests, from the visitors staying in the rooms, sales tax and lodging tax. Airbnb and VRBO, all those short-term rentals do not. And so as a state and as destination marketing organizations, we are working towards legislation because it just makes sense. It obviously hurts the business of the properties and really for all of the services. For lack of better words, it's not fair. So we're monitoring that. We currently have 20 properties of Airbnb only. The data company that we work with only tracks Airbnb. So there's more that are either on VRBO or another platform. So So destination branding, this was a huge exercise for us. If we wanted to find out who we are from a competitive differentiation standpoint, we wanted to understand how we can cut above the clutter with our competition. And so if you don't mind, in your packets is our brand story. And I don't mean to read it to you, but I think it's important to do so because a brand is so much more than just a logo or a tagline. It's getting to the essence of who we are. So if you'll indulge me, I'll just read this quickly to you. This is our brand story. Just tap out on the open road down Route 33, and you're bound to get the sense that Union County may well be a rarity in a world where throwaway, mass-produced, and copycat archetypes are more the norm. Here, the wide open spaces of the rural countryside act as canvases for a bounty of creative ideas, locally grown and crafted products, uncommon experiences, and opportunities that reflect the unique history, traditions, and vision of this special place, connecting the past and present with generations to come. Have you ever dined on farm-to-table fare under a covered bridge by the light of the setting sun? Have you ever watched a group of hot air balloons rise slowly aglow against the evening sky? Or viewed a sunset while doing yoga in a wildflower meadow? Have you ever sampled gooseberry wine or sipped an herbal soda? Or found a handcrafted piece of folk art, pottery, or unexpected primitive treasure in the middle of a charming main street? From historic covered bridges, wineries, breweries, and local produce stands scattered throughout the scenic countryside, to farm-to-table dining, baked goods, colorful murals, hand-tooled vats, Amish-made furniture, soaps, home decor, live music, trails, and Art Deco theater, every one-of-a-kind experience, artisanal product, and memory in Union County is authentically and thoughtfully crafted and cared from the hearts, minds, and hands of the people who live and work here, and each tells a story that simply can't be duplicated anywhere else. Through the years, Union County has thrived without having to change much of what really matters. Steeped in a solid foundation of agricultural history and roots tied to the land, it is on this fertile ground that even greater things have been built. A strong work ethic and attention to craft, the highest level of quality, is manifested today in the county's high standard of living, educational institutions, and economic development. And though Union County is one of the fastest growing counties in the state, agribusiness and agriculture are still dominant industries today, and a burgeoning agricultural research and development infrastructure and technical ingenuity mean this sector will continue to thrive and grow in years to come. What attractive visionary thinkers, farmers, designers, builders, and creators such as Reuben Partridge and O.M. Scott more than 150 years ago still attracts global enterprises such as Honda, chefs, brewers, artists, and other groundbreakers today, as well as those looking for a refreshing getaway and an unexpected good time. Union County's fresh air, beautiful, bountiful land, and naturally crafted treasures remain invaluable and will be carried in your heart long after a visit. Yet Union County's most alluring product of all may be its sense of place, preserved in the special moments, feelings, experiences, and memories of those who venture out and spend time here. Union County naturally crafted. So that is our story, and thank you for letting me read that to you, because I think that's an important point to make as we work towards really using branding in a way that drives further economic impact. So what we're working towards is a county-wide destination campaign centered around naturally crafted products and services and goods and arts and crafts. And so in front of you, you'll see one of our first partners that we forged with Ohio Till Farmstead. That all of our partners, and we'll launch this at our annual meeting on March 30th, have the opportunity to identify products or experiences that they offer that truly are naturally crafted. And so Tim with Ohio Till Farmstead worked with us to produce this popcorn, and we used it this past weekend at a group for a trade show that we were at, and it was very well received, and especially because anymore, at all those types of trade shows and all those different opportunities, no one necessarily needs another pen or another chapstick or a stress ball. So it's something that's different that creates conversation, and that's what we're hoping to work towards as it relates to positioning ourselves in the marketplace, leisure visitors, and all different types of markets. This is a unique place that you can come and experience something truly different. And we care about what we make, and what we sell, and what we share with our residents and visitors. So we're excited to begin sharing that March 30th, and we'll keep you posted as it relates to Plain City businesses that might engage that. We also have a new name. We're no longer the Union County Convention and Business Bureau, we're Union County Tourism. That's easier for people to understand what we do. And then we have a new logo that we'll use is Visit Union County, Ohio, and we'll use that outside of Union County. So wayfinding signage, we'll talk about that in a minute. Where we are in this is the design, sign design is finalized, the programming is not complete. We've got budgets, which you'll see this evening, and then we'll work towards a fabrication and installation RFP later this spring, with hopefully the first sign implementation in third or fourth quarter of this year. So I'll just share a couple quick numbers. You probably got that in front of you. We had a record-breaking number a year with the number of impressions with our advertising. Our social media followers have increased to nearly 12,000. Website visitors, almost 200,000. We had some great public relations and recognition. We did a Dine on the Covered Bridge trolley tour series, and we did Covered Bridge Trail, which helped us get some publicity. You'll see in that packet that we had some, we had the morning anchors on ABC6 wearing their Covered Bridge sunglasses. So, moving on, just a couple highlights. We had 10 domestic and 1 international tour for 426 visitors by bus, and that had a direct economic impact of 37,750. And I'm pleased to share that we've got even stronger development in group tour offerings in Plain City. In 2022, we had tours going to Purple Plain Farm, and then we have several going this year to Buckeye Grass, and then obviously Mitchell's Berries and Deer Dutchman. So we've got a great, strong group tour product here as well. Sports event development, we keep working on that. We've got a sports advisory committee. We have worked on a proposal for USA BMX race in Marysville in partnership with Visit Dublin. We're just working on new inroads, and if anybody has any desire to serve on that committee, we continue to expand that so we can really make some progress in that market this year. We continue to host meetings and special groups. Christian Motorcycles Association State Rally was in. Penn Ohio Model A Car Club was here, and they used Drew Dutchman parking lot for their show and their dinner and their show at the end of their multi-state tour. Experiential and special events, the Covered Bridge Trail launched last year in June, ran June through December, and we had 27 stops and over 1,200 free pass signups. We'll be starting that again this year. In those 6 months, we had visitors from 22 states in the province of Ontario. We'll be doing the Dine on the Covered Bridge Trolley Tour Series again this year. We sold out last year. We're adding an extra day, so we'll have a total of 10 events, 5 lunches, 5 dinners. We're using Retreat 21 in October, so we'll have folks coming in here as well. Excited about that offering. Union Station continues to be a really growing and important retail opportunity for us as well, an opportunity to touch our visitors. But more than anything, it supports 52 local and regional vendors. We had over 7,000 visitors last year with record sales of 60,000 plus. And just lots of opportunities for partner engagement throughout the year. So I'll wrap that up, and then we'll move into the wayfinding signage information, unless you have any questions about our activities in 2022. And I'll just bring this up so I can speak there to numbers as it relates to budgets for wayfinding. So, give me 1 second. Okay, so a little bit of background on our wayfinding program. We started this in 2019 with a task force. Heidi was representative for us, Plain City. A task force took a trip down to Butler County, Ohio, they have a really great countywide system. And then we did an RFP and went through an entire process with that and selected a firm called Merge. And Merge is the design agency that has been helping us move to where we are today. And so we have representatives on that task force from Marysville, Richwood, Plain City, Jerome Township, county representatives, and they have brought us to the point of a final sign design, which is in your packet as well. So, there we go. So, in your packet, you'll see a document that is from Merge that shows what these countywide signs will look like. So we've got county signs and we've got municipal signs. And because there's not a PowerPoint presentation, you might want to reference that so you can see that there is, using our brand, there's a collective way to present each of the municipal signs in a way that speaks to their community, as well as has some integration. And so Plain City, you'll see, obviously includes your new brand and colors as well. You'll also see the different types of signs in that packet what Plain City signs would look like. And so there's all different types of signs. And in that document as well, you'll see the final budget that we, based on the programming that Merge has done for us. And so let me just get to that right now. This is some pictures of what the signs look like. So your preliminary budget, which is probably part of the packet that Justin made, if not, there's a full budget in the packet that I presented to you. So the budgets were done based on programming. So Merge Design helped us with the design and is doing all the programming for us. And based on that programming, they decided to try to think of all the signs that you would need based on task force and input, based on their thoughts, and have come up with a budget for you. Now, what we're working on as a task force is, and in each municipalities, understanding what your budget will allow this year, and then we'll phase accordingly. So, for example, Union County Tourism is going to work with the county for county signs. And a perfect example of how we would initially phase signs for the county would be to prioritize them. Instead of doing gateway signs this year, we'll put that off probably for subsequent years and start with the Trailblazer signs to the bridges, because most of the promotion that we're doing is driving people to the bridges. The other sign will probably elevate from a priority standpoint is the one for the Joint Recreation District, because there's a lot of sports that are going on there. So each municipality can look at the sign list that has been given to you in working in concert with the representative, and Jason is the representative here, so as well as Kelly as well. So you'll see that you have a budget currently of $137,450. Excuse me, $137 per $137,450. So that's where Merge has at least ended up from higher level, if you chose to do the signs that they recommend based on input from representatives from Plain City, $137,450. So you'll see in this budget document the types of signs how they arrived at that $137,450. And so there's a number of trailblazers that are directing to parks. That's just the name of the sign, it's a smaller sign. And then the vehicular directional signage that is currently slated, and the number of signs. So this is you're the first entity that I'm sharing this with. We haven't even shared with our task force yet. Other representatives from Plain City who are on that task force have not had a chance to weigh in. I shared this with Jason this morning. So we just got this on Thursday, needed to go through and make sure that it was correct. So this is currently what we're looking towards. Union County Tourism has been setting aside money to help fund the county signs as well, and you'll see on that first page is a pretty significant budget item total. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you is Merge Design has designed a national document for inclusion. And so one of the things that MERGE does not typically do is direct towards individual businesses. And that's been kind of a mind shift for certain people, in knowing that they've seen, like, for example, signs of Bellfountain that point to a particular business. But I will say, like, uptown shopping or downtown restaurants this way. And so the only caveat, the only potential that the task force has, kind of earmarked, that is outside of that is potentially signs for agritourism. But the task force has said, that's way down in the future, and that would be a pay-to-play kind of opportunity. So if, 1487, who already has great signage through the TODS program on 33, if Retreat 21 with a new tap room, or if 1487 wanted to participate in the future, that's something the task force has already earmarked as a consideration. Meaning the only group, the only entity that would be allowed to have signage to their businesses, which then also potentially fits in. This was done first, and then the branding came after. The branding was key to that as well. The way of Naturally Crafted, so let's point to those things that visitors are coming to see through that Naturally Crafted branding program. So, the agritourism numbers are there, but I would say disregard that because we're not thinking of that at all. Probably not in phase 1, which would be this year, and probably not in phase 2, which would be next year. We'll just have to see how the first phase goes before we even have that conversation. So I wanted to share that this is where we've arrived at. We've got the design, we've got the plotting on the signs of where those are going to go, the plotting from a GPS standpoint of where those signs are going to go, and then we have the budget for that. So next step would be your thoughts and input, and then I'll carry that to the task force, as will Jason and others, and then the task force will work towards phasing for each community, or you as a community will make that decision from a phasing standpoint, and then we work through the RFP for fabrication and installation. The other big challenge, and this has been a huge project for us to work collectively as a county on, is what we do about maintenance. And right now we're talking at the task force level about that maintenance being up to that local municipality to handle that if the sign gets knocked over. Working with our organization and with the sign fabricator to get that repaired, replaced, and all that kind of good stuff. So that's where we are on the wayfinding project. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
I have a two-part question.
Yes.
So part one
Yes.
is, and I noticed the plotting a little bit, but I wasn't 100%. Does this cover portions of Plain City that are in Madison County as well?
Yes. Oh, hey, I'm glad you're there.
Sorry, I was looking at both of you.
Jason, talk about Jason, I'll be running
So this total and just this whole thought process, when we talk about Plain City wayfinding, we're talking about both the pieces that are within Union County and within Madison County. So it could be consistent throughout. Okay, perfect. And then on the second part, and then you can answer both the questions. So I'm gonna answer the second. So we, as you've heard tonight and others, we are growing, right?
Yeah.
So who owns the rights and how would we, if I wanted to put a new sign up that follows this branding and this kind of wayfinding because our city line is always moving, right? How does that process work and who would own like the rights? You said that individual businesses may be out, but how would we go about adding a sign if I want to 5 years down, 2 years from now?
So it's my understanding that we would have full control over adding signs, removing signs, changing signs, in the event that we have an annexation that pushes.
Yeah, sure, the line moves,
signs,
yeah.
right? We would be, fully in control of pushing those signs out. I do believe that a lot of the signs we're looking at would be movable anyway, so that would even be something we don't necessarily always have to purchase new signs if we have another annexation, but.
Yeah, but so right now I saw the one sign that said, Pastime Park this way, City Hall that way. Well, I'm hoping we have more parks in the future, so we'd want a sign that says New Park this way, Pastime Park that way. So that's more what I was thinking about is how does this scale? How does this go in the next steps before I wouldn't want to start and say, oh, well, that's all the design you could do. Everything else you have to add has to be ad hoc added on. I want to be consistent. So thank you for that.
Yeah, early discussions at least with Haley and I think the task force, we were looking at potentially doing a multi-phase, multi-year approach to this.
Sure.
Actually, I'm very pleased with the final budget. I think this is very doable compared to where it first started. So, you know, that being said, I think with the initial attractions that we've identified or neighborhoods that we've identified, I think it would be similar to Union County where they're kind of picking the bigger things first and then focusing down, you know, smaller. Another thing you mentioned too would be how we handle the Union County portions of Plain City.
Well, the Madison
Or
County.
the Madison County portions. Some of the sign designs you probably see have Union County kind of like typed in on the bottom or kind of, I think it's still in there. We've already talked about that from a committee standpoint where we would at Madison County on those signs that are in Madison County. So we want to make sure that we still keep our identity, but honor Union County, but then not turn away Madison County.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and I will add that, that Union County Tourism paid for merge design, so now you've got that design moving forward, and you just, you know, let's say you phase it in 2 years, by year 3, you've grown so much, you wanna add, you know, 10 more signs, you've got the design to do that, it's your design plan, just like it's ours, and you run with it, however you want to run with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, I'm sorry.
So if we do run with this, there's an item in here that says additional items construction administration the merge will do. Does that kick in automatically if we go forward with this as a council?
For merge, I'll have to ask them that, but part of what we talked about was from an RFP standpoint with the fabrication installation company initially, that depending on what you and the task force decide, from a phasing standpoint, that was what the RFP will include. And then, but then we'll get a sense of like, okay, if we want, you know, a trailblazer sign, I don't have, I should have this in front of me, whatever that is.
Right, well, it has the 15,000 and it says each additional item that is chosen is another 15,000 for them to do administration. That's, I mean, looking at that, that cost is way more than some of these signs are. The construction administration would be more than that. So I'm just wondering how that would work
Yes,
out.
I will, I'll address that with them, and then I'll bring it to the task force. I think that's a very good point, that as we move forward, as we grow, and we know we're growing, and it's inevitable, which is great, which is what we want. But I will address that, and Jim will get that information
Not a problem.
back to Justin, maybe to share with you, if that's okay?
Yeah.
So maybe a good follow-up to that is, so the task force meets, I saw the members of it, Jason, you're obviously a member, some other individuals. When would you guys next meet?
I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know if we have the date set, but now that we have this, because
Okay,
we're
so like
waiting on.
within a month or two?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we had a preliminary budget that we shared, maybe a year ago. But now that we've met and we've talked about, a perfect example would be Jerome Township. Initially, they wanted signs directed to, and so when I came before them in December, they're like, you know what, I don't really know that we need that. And so, okay. And so it was going through in each community and really deciding, all right, if this is really our initial grouping of signs, what's that budget? So now this just came to us last Thursday. I would say within the next month. The sooner the better, because then we have to go through the fabrication installation RFP. So I will get that question answered about additional items, and then we'll get the task force meeting, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Thank you so much for
Oh, thank
presenting
you.
this
And
information.
you're
It's
Can
very
I
exciting.
just get
Yes.
one question in here? I didn't see a sign, for good reason, and there's a sample that says Heritage Trail Northwest this way. Because we don't have a Heritage
Yes.
Trail Northwest. So I was just curious about what you could add to that, or what you could tell us about that effort to build a trail, which would be a game changer for tourism, I think. It's
Oh, I
the,
think
it's the
so,
big
too.
elephant in the room for it.
No, I think that, you know, I don't know, I feel like it was outdoor recreation was a growing, visitor, category of how they spend their time prior to COVID. I think that just completely amplified that. And so anytime we can offer any type of outdoor recreation, that's better. That also, aside from visitors, it speaks to the quality of life for residents. And then you've got a place where people love to live, then you've got a place that people want to come and visit because you actually speak highly of that. So I don't have an update on that, but I can get that to you. I don't know if you have any update on Heritage Trail. I can,
That's okay, don't go to a big effort on it, because there's always background activity, and we're,
Yes.
you know, it's moving forward at a turtle pace, but it's moving, and that's good.
It is.
So we have a crew here that's working on that. Our parks director is very involved and things. I was just off the top of your head interested in what you might be able to share
Yeah.
as far as Union County and what they're doing. I know every year they apply for grants of $1 million. They always get turned down. Maybe you could help them get that grant.
I'm
to get
not opposed to working on it, I just need to figure
Yeah,
out
well,
where those
there's some
big
people in Union
opportunities
County that do it every year. I don't remember who the group is, but if you could find them,
are. Sure.
I'm sure
I
they
know
appreciate
Fish
all the
Rate
help
is
you
very
can get.
engaged with that, as well. The trails and parks and outdoor recreation are really important to us. Tomorrow at Dutch Mill Greenhouse, Tamisha with the High Department, Union County Department of Health is presenting on all the parks and trails and outdoor recreation activities, and we're talking to our tourism partners about how important that is to us from a resident standpoint and business owner standpoint, as well as visitors. So I haven't heard anything, any updates recently about that, so I know it's moving.
Right, thank you, I
Slowly,
appreciate that.
Slowly,
All right.
but I think that would be fantastic. I really, truly do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
your
coming
time.
here to present all the information. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
In a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.